Right, so we have the open pairs, 32 is correct there, isn't it? I'll shuffle it up
Yeah.
again, and I'll start
There's
going.
still two outstanding games to be played.
There's still two outstanding games. I'll have to get it played by next Thursday, or the both will be out, because
Yeah.
we'll have to move on to the next thing. So I can't, it's not my fault, that's just the way it is. So Pat
Well,
Brady and
Harvey.
Harvey Devell. Pat Brady and Harvey Devell.
Yeah.
Let me know you can hear me now.
Yeah, I can hear you, yeah.
Pat Brady and Harvey Devell. The Chris Shields and Collie McCann.
Yeah.
Paddy and Neil Heaney. 1-0.
Yeah.
The Jokey and Joey McTaggart, White Cross. Paul Morgan and John McGee, CWCA and the Wiggins Bar. There's Aaron O'Callaghan and Conor Heaney, thirds.
Yeah.
Ronnie and Jared Poocher.
Yeah.
The Chris and Richard Fletcher, number 7. Kevin McGee and Andrew Maudsley, Hustlers. The Adrian Holman and Henry McLaughlin, Windmill Bar. Shane Dernan and Jerry Finnegan, the Wiggins Bar and CWC Select.
Yeah.
The Sean and Frank McCardle, CWC Select and Cavan Eagles. Shawnee and Frank McCardle. James Toner and Jamie LaBelle, Carcuffle. The Mark McSherry and Kieran Hanna, Gainers A. Cavan Coy and Willie Brown, Hustlers. The winners of Noel Bradley and Damien McCardle are Paddy Calley and Keenan Moran. Larry McAlinden and Kieran McMahon, CWCA. The Damien Kearney, Drummond T, and Peter O'Hagan, Drummond T. Jimmy and Shamie McVary, Don Mischiel A and Hustlers. Play Tucker Hughes and Sean Murray, Hustlers. Tucker Hughes and Sean Murray, Hustlers. Paddy Lavelle and Callum McFarland, White Cross. The Paul Murphy and Ralph Crummy birds. Manny and Tristan Byrne. We're very lucky to get through against Stephen Sherry and Sean. The Adam Rowntree and Matthew Cregan, PWCB and Calvin Eagles. Pat Byrne and Paul McAreevy. The Darren Devlin and Barry Hart Calvert Eagles. The winner of Jack Courtney and Jackie McMahon are Anthony Hammond and Polly McCann. Play Anthony Morgan and Stevie Knowles, CWCB. The last two matches are Matthew Cameron and Niall O'Hare St. Menina. We play Sean Hughes and James Delahunt, Sean Mischel A. Which leaves John McGuinness and Joe Poocher, Calvin Eagles, against Shane Feehan and Conor Dullahan, CWC Select.
Shane Feehan.
Yeah, Shane Feehan.
And who's Shane playing with?
Conor Dullahan. Conor Dullahan.
So I'll call that out. Pat Brady, Harvey Lavelle versus Chris Shields and Collie McCann. Paddy and Neil Heaney versus Jokey and Joey McTaggart. Paul Morgan and John McGee versus Aaron Callaghan and Conor Heaney. Ronnie and Jared Poocher versus Chris and Richard Fletcher. Kevin McGee and Drew Maudsley versus Henry McLaughlin and Adrian Holman. Shane Dernan and Jerry Finnegan versus Sean and Frank McCordle. James Toner and Jamie Lavelle versus Mark McSherry and Kieran Hanna. Cahill McCoy and Willie Brown versus the winner of Noel Bradley and Damien McCordle, Paddy Talvey and Keelan Moore. Larry McLinden, Kieran McMahon versus Damien Kearney and Peter O'Hagan. Jimmy and Seamus McVeary versus Tucker Hughes and Sean Murray. Paddy Lavelle and C. McParlin versus Paul Murphy and Ralph Crummy. Manny and Tristy Byrne versus Adam Rowntree and Matthew Cregan. Pat Byrne and Paul McAreevy versus Darren Devlin and Barry Hart. The winner of Jack Courtney, Jackie McMahon versus Anthony O'Hanlon and Collie McCann versus Anthony Morgan and Stevie Knowles. Matthew Cameron and Niall O'Hare versus Sean Hughes and James Delahunt. Ciara McGuinness and Joe Poocher versus Shane Feehan or Conor Dullahan.
Very good. So now we're on to the Division 1 individuals. There's 16 there, Liam.
Yep.
Shuffling them up, shuffling them again, shuffling them again. You ready to go?
Yep.
First one out is Barry McAllister. Sean Mischel. Barry will play Eddie Lai, Kerr Cruppen. Next one out is Frank McCardle, CWC Select. The Jimmy Lavelle, Kerr Cruppen. More. James Delahunt, Sean Mischel A. play his teammate Connie McCann and Sean Musgrave. Gary Justin Burge. Play Stephen Lavelle Card Crumble. James Toner Card Crumble. We'll play Aaron O'Callaghan Burge. Aaron O'Callaghan Burge. Tommy Lavelle Card Crumble. We'll play Chris Fletcher, number 7. Tommy Lavelle will play Chris Fletcher, number 7. The last 2 matches is Daryl Hannon, CWC Select. We'll play Martin O'Callaghan Card Crumble, which leaves Paul McAreevy McGuigan's Bar. Would play Paul Hughes, Sean Mischel. Paul McAreevy McGuigan's Bar would play Paul Hughes, Sean Mischel.
2, 3, 2, 4, 5, 6. 6 cards open there, not drawing. They all avoided each other.
Oh.
Corey McAllister versus Eddie Loy. Frank McCardle versus Jamie Lavelle. James Delahunt versus Collie McCann. Gary Justin versus Stephen Lavelle. James Toner versus Aaron O'Callaghan. Tommy Lavelle versus Chris Fletcher. Daryl Hammond versus Martin O'Callaghan. And Paul McAreevy versus Paul Hughes.
No problem. Now we go on to the Premier Division individuals. 16 entries. Shuffle, 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 shuffle. Ready?
Yep. Be some big games in this.
Harvey Lavelle, first man out. Okay. Oh. Willie Brown, Hustlers. Yeah, Molly was definitely very lucky to beat having the third in here. Jamie McVeigh, Hustlers. In fact, I had the 2 boys down for a win, like.
It must have been close.
1 second. Barry Hart, Cavern Eagles. Who was that? Jamie McVeigh has covered Barry Hart.
Very hard, yeah.
Right, okay. Right, this is the last, what is the 6th game? I have to run the wee fellow down the town. Kieran Hanna, Trainer's Bar. Trainer's A. Let's see. Trainer's A. Where am I now? Right, against Pat Brady, Hustlers. Who was that again with?
Kieran Hanna versus Pat Brady.
Collie McCann, Trainer's A. Play Jack Courtney, Trainer's A.
All these Premier games will probably be played this Thursday, Ciaran, yeah?
We'll wait to see. We'll have to look just at some of the pairs there. Manny Byrne, CWC, Manny and Chesty were both very lucky in that pairs game, you know. in case I forgot to tell you that. Against Stevie Node, CWCB. Not even Stevie Node. Let's see. Cahill Mackay Hustlers. No doubt the favourite to win the whole thing. They'll all be hoping to me. Oh. Really late. Mark McCharry, Cherry. So the last 2 games, somebody's going to get here.
That's an easy game for Mark.
What are you saying?
Easy game for Mark.
Here, big man, CWCA. An easy game for Mark, sure. Against Gavin Dorn, McGuigan's Bar. He's a good player, Gavin Dorn, isn't he?
Good game.
Which means that Sean Murray from the Hustlers will play Peter O'Hagan, Drummond T. We'll work out what we can get into the venues and put it up for everybody to be done. Remember, Brian, can you get that Peter O'Hagan will play Sean Murray?
Right, so that's Harvey Lavelle versus Willie Brown, Seamus McVerry versus Barry Hart, Kieran Hanna versus Pat Brady, Colin McCann versus Jack Courtney, Manny Bourne versus Stevie Nodes, Cal McCoy versus Mark McSherry, Kieran McMahon versus Gavin Dorn, and Sean Murray versus Peter O'Hagan.
Very good. Right.
I'll stand at the account. I'll let you go there. You can take the
We've had a downtime, but listen to me. There's 2 outstanding pairs that have to be played this week, or they will go out and the next one to go through. Now I already know who's already been communicating with the other team and who. So we need them games done. It's just built up like. It's going to have a knock-on effect.
No problem.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
That'll do. Bye-bye.